What's happening, y'all? Welcome inside the Fantasy Stock Exchange. Danny and Bush coming at you to bring you kind of a special Week 1 preview episode, Thursday Night Football. As you guys know, my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as you can see on the side that I'm on the screen right now, Danny's Dallas Cowboys, they are going to be kicking off the 2021 NFL season. And we thought we'd bring you guys a special video brought to you by our good friends at OddsJam, talking about 3 prop bets or 3 bets in general that we're looking to be kind of placing on this game, along with our own personal bet of Buccaneers -8 for me, Dallas Cowboys +8 for Danny. We're doing a little friendly bet among each other. But if we were doing some real life bets, we're going to give you some good advice here, brought to you by our friends at OddsJam, as I mentioned. So Danny, how are you doing today?
Doing well. And as you'll pick up during the video, a lot of my bets are themed around the Cowboys. A lot of Bush's bets are themed around his Buccaneers. So should be fun. I'm excited for Thursday night, ready to get some drinks in, ready to really enjoy football being back. Because let's be honest, us being as degenerate as we are with football, the fact that the season is opening with our 2 favorite teams going, colliding heads, should make for music. So I'm ready to roll.
Yep, for sure. So we're going to hit the intro and then we're going to get right into this. As I mentioned, this video is brought to you guys by OddsJam. OddsJam is the premier tool that you guys need to be using if you plan on placing bets this year. This is something that it's not a gambling site. It's not something that you place bets on. What it is basically the organizer. Think of it as like your agenda if you're going to be placing sports bets this year. And I'll kind of give you guys a walkthrough as we go through this video. We're going to be kind of making reference to how you can use OddsJam to help your betting needs this year. So as you can see, they have betting tools, odds, calculators, all that stuff. We're going to be focused on odds right now, going into the football section, clicking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Dallas Cowboys. And what OddsJam does, basically, if you guys are familiar with like Trivago and hotels.com, what they do for hotels is they kind of provide you with all the same kind of details from multiple different sites like Expedia and things of that nature. And they give you the best price for whatever hotel that you're looking for. Well, OddsJam is essentially that for sports betting. They take FanDuel and DraftKings, BetMGM, all the main gambling sites that you guys are going to be using this year for your sports betting. They give you the aggregate of all that site. They collect all the data to let you know when you're getting the best odds, the best line for whatever bet that you're trying to make. And the cool thing about this is you can make multiple accounts on these sites, right? You have DraftKings, FanDuel, and BetMGM, for example, one of the 3 of the more popular sports gambling sites out there. If you guys have an account for all 3 of these sites, then you can really shop your bets before you place them. If you want to place a bet, for example, on the Cowboys, you can check with those 3 sites to make sure that you're getting the best odds possible. And then the cool thing about this is that all these sites give you like first-time sign-up bonuses. So it makes sense to have a couple different sports betting accounts because you're getting really the best odds and you also get a little bit extra money when you deposit on these sites.
Yeah, for sure. And again, if you're an avid sports bettor, you enjoy betting on sports, you enjoy watching sports, you're like us, right? You're just a degenerate at that point. Having a platform, having a site that organizes the odds for all these particular sites that you can bet on, it's crucial because, again, you guys can see the odds there. They actually highlight for you which site is best for you to actually place a bet on. So, for example, if you're an avid believer, you think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to beat the Dallas Cowboys. Hey, you see the little Tom Brady there, but you guys can see there, you got the gold -375 in multiple sites. So if you were to bet on Unibet, if you were to bet on Barstool, if you were to bet on sites like that, you'd be getting the best comparative odds. Because as you guys can see, there's -425, -400. But obviously, if you're betting, you want to get the best return on investment if that cause were to happen. So having that kind of available to you, having that information ready and useful when you're about to place your bets is crucial to determine where you want to place your bets on.
For sure. So now let's get into some of the bets that we're going to be talking about. As Danny mentioned, the Bucs money line. Like I said, this is going to be a bet that I would be willing to place. Obviously, it is not a very high risk bet considering they are the favorites to win the game. So if I go to Bucs money line right here, as Danny pointed out, Barstool would give you kind of the best odds, Bet Rivers, some of these other places. But let's say, for example, you only have 3 sports betting accounts, as I mentioned, FanDuel, DraftKings, and BetMGM, some of the more popular ones that you have. You can compare those 3, right? You can see FanDuel's -390, DraftKings -425, and BetMGM -385. Therefore, if you were to actually make this bet, you can head over to your BetMGM account, place the bet down, and you can use OddsJam to track your bet. Let's say you wanted to put $50 down on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers minus 385. That'll give you a bit of a better payout than if you would have used DraftKings, for example. And obviously, if you have 3 accounts that you're using, it might take you some time to hop on over to each site and check what the odds are on the Bucs money line. So this kind of streamlines that process for you.
It's just an easy way to keep tabs, keep organized on exactly where your bets are processed. And as you mentioned, you can track each one of your bets you make in real life. Again, this is not a gambling site. This is not where you say, I put on $100, I get access to these sites. This is sort of your organizers to determine where exactly your funds are going on a week-to-week basis for your sports betting.
For sure. Now I'll let Danny get into one of his lines.
Head over to the point spread. Actually,
yeah. So the total points area is going to be the over/under, also known as. So what Danny, and as you guys can see, as you scroll down, they have every different possible outcome. The most popular, the main line that is popular aggregate across all the sites that they take data from is 52. That is the most popular line that they're looking for. Are you going to be betting 52?
I'm actually going to be betting 51.5. And the reason being, one of the more popular score lines you will see in the NFL consistently is a 28-24 line, which if you guys do the math on that, that leaves you at 52 points exactly. So I'll buy that half point in case that line happens. Hey, I end up meeting the threshold of over 51.5. And again, I think this is going to be a very high scoring game, 2 high powered offenses, and you'll kind of see that consistency across the board with the 3 bets I picked out today.
Let's take the 3 same sites that I talked about before. Let's say you have 3 betting accounts. You have FanDuel, you have DraftKings, and you have BetMGM. You can see minus 110, minus 120, minus 115. Again, you would select BetMGM because that is the site that you're going to make the most money, most bang for your buck on. And again, you can track the bet. Obviously, you would have to go over to BetMGM and actually place the bet, but you do track it in here. So over under of 51.5 points. Again, we expect this to be a high scoring game. Both teams have great offenses. Dak Prescott coming back from injury. We expect him to be able to put up points. Tom Brady and the Bucs trio of wide receivers, tight ends, everything that they have in store for the Cowboys defense. We expect a high scoring game, of course, especially with this being the first game of the season. We often see a lot of broken plays, blown coverages, sloppy play at times too. So there's a good chance that there's some bonus plays on top of what we would have already seen in a high scoring game, even if this was midway through the season.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, 2 high octane offenses. Again, if you're actually talking about pace of play, the Cowboys being the highest pace of play team when Dak Prescott was on the field last year. And obviously we know when Tom Brady and those Buccaneers trio wide receiver, tight ends on the field, obviously with those running backs, this is just a plethora of offensive talent meeting up. So I do think each team could probably cross 30 points in the game. And that if that's the case, I mean, over 51.5 is a slam dunk.
Yeah, for sure. And if maybe you're not as confident, you can buy even more points, go down to 47, whatever the case is, something like that. So if you wanted to go to some more player props, maybe you're not necessarily into the casual money line point spread, over-unders, things of that nature, you can go to the player receiving yards, for example. We know there's a lot of great receivers in this game between those 2 teams, probably the 2 best wide receiver trios in the NFL. And let's say, for example, by watching us on the Fantasy Stock Exchange, that Chris Godwin has a great matchup because Mike Evans going up against Trayvon Diggs, the type of corner that Trayvon Diggs is, the type of receiver that Mike Evans is, maybe that's a bit more of a tougher matchup for him because he is a very physical corner. He's got some good size to him. So Mike Evans can't necessarily overpower the guy. Again, these are all kind of qualitative factors that you would make before making this bet. I can go to Chris Godwin, who potentially has a better matchup in the slot, predominantly versus Jordan Lewis in coverage. Going to see some time, obviously, against everybody, but mostly Jordan Lewis, as he is the primary slot receiver for this team. And I can see that if I wanted to place a bet, for example, that Chris Godwin is going to have over 56.5 receiving yards, I think he's going to, catch a couple balls, be a big factor in this game. I can see that a number of sites offer that bet. If, for example, again, like I said, I only have a DraftKings, a FanDuel, a BetMGM account, I can just look for the closest one on those sites. DraftKings looks like over 57.5. I can use that line and go over to DraftKings, place that bet. And like I said, I can track it on here, say place $50 on that and hit save on there. And I have everything tracked. Everything's easy peasy. And I know I got the best odds, best bang for my buck.
Yep, absolutely. I think no pun intended there, but yeah, I think that's a good bet to make. Again, when you're looking at the comparative matchups, obviously you mentioned Trayvon Diggs, Mike Evans, more physical cornerback versus wide receiver matchup. I think Chris Godwin being in that slot, coming back, is going to have Jordan Lewis having his hands full. So I fully agree. I think that's a good bet to make, even though it's going against my Cowboys. But speaking of a bet that actually goes for my Cowboys, we can head over to the passing touchdowns number. And as you guys can see there, the over-under for Dak Prescott on his passing touchdowns is 1.5. I talked about I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game, while also acknowledging the fact that Ezekiel Elliott may not have the most success in this game. And that's a very good front seven for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dallas Cowboys obviously missing Zach Martin potentially for this game. I don't think this is going to be a necessary Zeke game. So if that's the case, if I think the Cowboys are still going to put up points despite Zeke struggling, that means that Dak Prescott and the wide receiver corps of this team is going to have to do it through the air. So 1.5 touchdowns, I am taking the over on. And talking about those three sites, you can see, although BetMGM is not listed there, you have the odds there for DraftKings and FanDuel being at minus 165 and minus 172 respectively. So if you want the best bang for your buck, you would pick the DraftKings because it gives you a better return on investment.
Yeah. And then again, you put $100 down on that bet. You can obviously track it that way. And if you were making all the bets that we're suggesting right now, you have a very easy way to track them all. You don't need to, hop from FanDuel to DraftKings to keep checking the bets constantly and being like, because I do this all the time. When I make a bet, I'm like, wait, what was the line that I bet on again? Was it 6.5 or was it 7.5? And I have to keep hopping back and forth between the two betting sites that I use. And thankfully, I can use, a service like this that'll help me track it a lot easier. So, two more bets that we're going to get into real quick, rapid fire, as we talked about with the passing touchdowns for Dak Prescott, now to the player total passing yards. And again, we've already kind of, hit the nail on the head of this theme that this should be a high scoring game, should be a game that the defenses are going to have their hands full with two of the best offenses in the league. So as we can see, Tom Brady, I'm looking for his passing yards because the Cowboys, while they're not very good against the run either, I think are going to be outmatched in the passing game. And I think Brady is going to be very efficient. Even if he doesn't have to throw a whole lot, I think there's going to be plenty of big plays that'll boost his passing yards number. And we know this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense is one that pushes the ball downfield. Number one in deep attempts was Tom Brady last year. Number one in completed air yards. One of the highest neutral game pass rates, as well as one of the highest pace of plays and one of the highest teams to pass on first down as well. So this is a team that is going to throw the ball like crazy all year, but especially in this game when they have a good matchup. So I'm looking again, we'll use those same exact sites as an example. FanDuel, as we can see, has 114 on over 299.5 passing yards for Tom Brady. We can see BetMGM has minus 118, but on more passing yardage for Tom Brady. So if I were to make a bet, around the Tom Brady 300 passing yard range, I would obviously choose FanDuel because I get 5 less passing yards that he needs, and it's actually higher odds than the BetMGM one. So I can even, just if I wanted to put a $20 bet down or whatever, I can, again, track it that way. And the last one that we'll get into, I'll let you, cover that one on your Cowboys.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the game line is currently at +8 for the Cowboys if you want to bet on them covering the spread. I'll actually give them a half a point here. I'm going to take them at +7.5. The reason being, I think this game is going to be contested within 7 points. So theoretically here, I can boost my odds, my return on investment, if I shave that half point off of the 8 that's implied there. And the reason why is because when I look at this game, I look at two high-powered offenses that are going to have a huge, fast-paced pace of play on offense. And that type of game, it's hard for a team to cover over a touchdown. It really is, because both offenses are going to be scoring. Both offenses are going to be flying. Both offenses are going to be on the field a lot. And I know I'm a Cowboys fan. It might be biased that I'm covering my team here, but at +100 to cover 7.5 points on what I think should be, again, a well-performing offense in this game. I understand the Buccaneers are a very good team all around, but in terms of volatility, when you're expecting a high over-under, as I've already stated with my over-under bet of over 51.5, I'm going to go with the team covering to really meet up and make that happen. So I'll take the Cowboys here +7.5, and this is actually a bet that myself and Bush obviously have between our teams as well. So
for sure. And like we said, using DraftKings, FanDuel, and BetMGM, we can see that FanDuel actually has the best odds of any site, especially those three that we are currently theoretically have a membership to. And FanDuel +100, it's, you're basically doubling your money, whatever you put down on FanDuel, as opposed to losing a little bit if you put it on DraftKings or on BetMGM as well. So basically that was the whole breakdown. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, this was a video basically, if you guys plan on betting on football this year, if you guys plan on trying to make some money watching football, I know it's, a fun time of year to get involved, get some skin in the game, for example. So if you plan on betting on football this year, we encourage you to use our friends over at OddsJam as a tool to help keep yourself organized. Hope you guys did enjoy this. Again, we will be live before this game on Thursday around 5-6 o'clock. We are going over to Owner's Box studio, basically, or head office, to be watching this game in person together. So Stay tuned. Follow us along on Twitter. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of trash talking, a lot of Danny complaining about the refs, me celebrating that the Buccaneers are winning, or maybe me eating some humble pie if the Cowboys are going to be keeping this game closer, potentially even winning this game. So should be fun. I'm sure you guys are excited for football. I'm excited for football. I'm excited to stop talking about sleepers and rankings and busts and everything like that. I just want to watch these guys play.
Thank God. I can't wait. Football is back, and I'm just speechless.
For sure. So if you guys did enjoy that, again, like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for what we have coming this week. We're going to get into week 1 content as soon as tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Peace out, guys, and enjoy your Wednesday.
Why you need the money?